Hello and welcome. Today I would like to talk about destroyers being attacked by aircraft carriers, particularly rocket planes. Recently I've read a fair number of comments from people saying that rocket planes easily deal with destroyers. They hit hard and that there's nothing you can really do to mitigate it. And I think that that's wrong. Rocket planes, in my opinion, are the easiest plane type to deal with as a destroyer. First, do not have your AA on. The CV can't normally see you. This allows you to surprise her and won't allow her to set up a proper attack run at first. Second, you have to point either your bow or stern exactly in the direction of the attacking planes. You will usually still take some damage, but it will be much less than a regular strike from the broadside. To illustrate this, let's take a look at what happens when a CV strikes the broadside of a Shimakaze. We are in the Hakuryu. I dropped the fighter to actually be able to see the DD to start the attack run properly. Okay, broadside on. Okay, we got a bit unlucky there. Only 3000 damage. Let's try again. Okay, hopefully this time we'll get a better drop. Oof! 7900, and we started the fire, so that's even additional damage. By the way, note how far away I have to be to start the attack run. I have to be 3.2 kilometers away. Because there's no fighter this time, I have to slow down, because I'll spot the Shima at 2.7 kilometers, but I need 3.2 for a regular attack run. But we still get a big strike here, 5k damage, and the fire will finish her off. So we took only 3 strikes. So now let's take a look at what happens when we drop on the Shimakaze from the front and stern only. First strike, 1 rocket hit, 1000 damage. Second strike, 3 rocket hits for 3000 damage. Third attack, it's a bit weird, but we hit another 3 rockets for 2000 damage and a fire. Fourth attack, another 3 rockets for 3000 damage. Fifth attack, another 2 rockets for 2000 damage and a fire. Sixth attack, another 3 rockets for 2600 damage. And the 7th and final attack, which will deal 570 damage. So we needed 7 attacks to actually sink the Shimakaze from the front and stern. And keep in mind that this was with 2 unmitigated fires that did 3000 damage. Without the fires, I would have needed at least 1 to 2 extra attacks. Now add on to that the Shimakaze could also have survivability expert. This would add another 1 to 2 attacks required to be able to sink her. Ultimately, I hope I've shown the efficacy of pointing your bow or stern towards rocket planes. Now, one counter-argument that I hear against this is that you can't keep up turning with the planes because the planes are really fast and they turn on a dime. But I'll demonstrate to you that you can keep up with the turn. So the planes are coming from 5 kilometers. They don't know exactly where I am, but now they spot me. But I'm already in a full turn towards them. If they hadn't come straight for me, my bow would have been pointed to them. Now the CV is trying to reposition to outturn my DD, but because I kept the full turn up, when the CV actually reaches me, I am already bow on. She also misses the drop, but that's kind of irrelevant. The point was that I was able to keep up with the turn. When the actual rockets were fired, my bow was pointed directly towards where the CV planes were. As an aside, I would like to mention that you should also do roughly the same thing against torpedo bombers. Although you want to be at a slight angle to be able to avoid the torpedoes more easily. Also, goodbye Fletcher. So the CV dropped torpedoes from behind me. I avoided them because I was roughly sailing away. Now she circled around to come from the other side, but because I'm going roughly in that direction, I will be easily able to avoid these as well. She will try to circle around again, but again, that doesn't get anywhere near me. So let me explain why the destroyer can keep up with the turn of the planes. So let's say that you are the destroyer, this black ellipse right here. And this is a plane, or these are planes that are coming to attack you from right there. So in this kind of situation, you have 2 choices. Well, first, you can turn away. Second, you can turn in. Right? Let's say in this case that you choose to turn away. Well, when you do that, The planes will usually then also compensate. They will attack like this, because your destroyer is obviously moving forward. And then when they attack like this, you're going to be somewhat angled already, and by the time the rockets hit, you'll probably even be more angled like this, and this will be a rather unsuccessful attack. Okay, this makes sense. But now let's say that the planes will try to reposition, because hey, planes are really fast and they turn really quickly. However, the planes will have to attack on us, will have to reposition in a circle. So first, they will actually have to turn out like this, right? Because they wish to go in the same direction as you are. Then they will have to circle around here a little bit, right? And now they will actually start turning in and then start the attack run, right? But your destroyer actually is quite quick for this, because as you can tell, this is a rather short distance here. Compared to all of this, this is a very, very, very long distance, or at least it seems that way. So, remember how I mentioned earlier the 3.2 kilometer number, that where you were able to where you had to start the attack run on the Hakuryu? Well, effectively, most CVs have something like that going on. So effectively, there is something like a 3.2 or let's say 4 kilometer circle around the destroyer. And as the destroyer moves, let's say the destroyer moves forward, then the circle will also move with it. And that is the circle that you have to be in to start, or you have to be outside of to start the attack run. You might have noticed earlier that the CV actually came very close to me for a moment, and then turned away to turn back in again to attack. So in this kind of situation, if the plane wanted to, once you're turning out, if the plane wanted to keep it up with you as you turn out here, the planes would go here, they would turn on the circle, then they would fly on this circle here, and the circle actually moves forward, they get to somewhere over here, now they would start turning in, and then they would do their attack run, right? But again, this is a very, 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 very long distance, because if the radius of this circle is 4 kilometers, then that means that the circumference of this red circle overall is 2 by this 4 multiplied by pi, which is 3.14, and this is roughly 25 something, I don't know the exact numbers, but let's say 25, right? So when your destroyer wants to turn 90 degrees here, right, like so, the plane also wants to keep up with this 90 degrees right here. The planes will have to go through a quarter of this circle's circumference, which is 6.25 kilometers. Compared to the, 1.5 or maybe 1 kilometer that the destroyer has to go through. Because of that, quite often the destroyer will simply be able to keep up, if not even outturn the planes outright. Because remember, even once the planes get over here, they still have to turn in, start the attack run, get close, and then fire the rockets on top of that. And all of that takes time. And because of that, the destroyer is, in my opinion, able to, well, not opinion really, that's why they're able to keep up with the turn. Now you could say, what if the plane or CV player is actually smarter and comes in from like this kind of an angle? See, if they come from over here, they just fly straight and then turn a little bit and do the attack run here, and your, destroyer will be here and they'll get your broadside. Well, yeah, but then you simply have to pay attention to what the CV is doing, and instead of turning away, you just turn in. And then when the CV gets there, you're already turned in, and it's much more difficult. The other thing is that if you're actually sailing towards the planes, remember, when I didn't get the proper attack run on the Shimakaze earlier in the tests when I showed attacks from the front, imagine if that Shimakaze had been sailing directly towards my planes. It would have been even more difficult to be able to properly land this. And if you combine this kind of a maneuver with concealment, it can very often make the CV unable to do a strike on you on the first way around. And on the second time, you will have even more time to try to reposition. Now, of course, you can't always turn in or turn out or do any kind of maneuver that you might want to, because simply there are other ships in the game. Like maybe there's a Stalingrad somewhere over there or somewhere in that direction, And if you turn in, you're getting so close that they will be able to radar you. Well, obviously that wouldn't be acceptable, right? Because you would die. But that is simply, well, part of the game. Like, that's something you will have to learn to avoid in terms of positioning. Because, well, you know, it's still a positional game. And the positioning will matter quite a lot. So you will have to always keep in mind in how you move around the map and what kind of things are where. So for example, in this situation, if the CV even could keep up and turn this way, imagine if there's like an island right here. The CV can't attack over here, because when there's an island, there's an elevation difference, and this throws a rocket plane attack haywire. And it'll be very, very difficult, if not impossible, to actually be able to strike the destroyer even when it's here, even if it shows complete broadside. And again, these are positional things that everyone has to play around with. So just keep in mind these kinds of small things. It's kind of like, imagine there are torpedoes, forget the plane here, imagine there's potentially a destroyer somewhere over there. And there could be torpedoes coming from there, right? Well, you don't want to really sail broadside, you want to either sail this way or that way. Because when you go this way, then if torpedoes come in, you can easily turn in to be able to avoid them. Or, alternatively, if you're sailing slightly diagonally away, torpedoes come in, you can easily turn away, and then you can also avoid the torpedoes. This is just the positional stuff that everybody has to do, and planes are simply one part of it. Now, I agree that when planes are in the game, you will have to be more conscious of it, and it doesn't lead to the most fun types of games. But that's a different issue, in my opinion, than rocket planes dealing a lot of damage to destroyers. I really don't think rocket planes, particularly, are the big issue when it involves destroyers and CVs. Now, I want to reiterate, I have many problems with CVs, but I don't think rocket planes are part of it. After the changes to the rocket plane reticles a few patches ago, they haven't felt like a big danger to me. I think spotting is the biggest problem for destroyers when it comes to CVs being in the match. Another problem for destroyers are HE bombers. FDR level bombers and midway dive bombers in particular. They're unpredictable, but they can hit the destroyer very hard and there's really no mitigation against it. I also think that there are other problems with CVs, such as repeated strikes on a single target and now recently FDR's absurd damage to larger ships. But I think it's very important to focus on the bigger issues instead of, well, the issues like the rocket planes right now. The rocket planes are one of the least problematic things when it comes to CVs right now, at least in my opinion. By the way, these last few clips have been from clan battles as a destroyer, and it tends to be quite painful, involving a lot of CVs usually. But it's usually not the CV that does the bulk of the damage, it'll be the other ships. As an added bonus, let's look at how many strikes it takes to sink a Kleber from the front and stern with a Hakuryu. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. Now keep in mind that the Kleber could have also had survivability expert, and she also took some unmitigated fire damage. But anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I would like to thank the patrons on Patreon. Thank you very much for your continued support, and I hope I'll see you guys next time.